Hi, I'm Daniel Fisher, Director of Product Optimization here at Sweetwater Sound. And today I'm going to show you clearly one of the most bizarre pedals I've ever played. This is the EarthQuaker Devices Data Corruptor. And it's basically a 3 oscillator distortion pitch shifter home wrecker. I mean, basically what it does is take your guitar and just squash it to death and then analyze that. And it uses a PLL to do harmonization, and you can do intervals anywhere from 3 octaves down to 3 octaves up. You've got a square oscillator that does your original pitch, then you've got a subharmonic that can go octaves down. It can do perfect fifths, major thirds, fifths, minor fifths down, fifths up, minor sevenths, major seconds, and then you have a master oscillator which can do unisons up plus an octave, fifth plus an octave, major thirds plus 2 octaves, fifths plus 2 octaves, minor 7 plus 2 octaves, and then unison plus 3 octaves. And then all of that can be shifted relative to the pitch you're playing, either in unison or a whole octave down or 2 octaves down. Your subharmonic can be in unison or it can be matched to whatever offset the oscillator is at. You've also got glide, which lets some of the oscillators glide to the pitch that you're using, or you can throw a switch and it becomes a frequency modulator, and it lets you do some pretty crazy ray gun type LFO modulation. So the first knob is called square, and basically that's your original pitch just clipped to death to a perfect square wave, and this is what that sounds like. So it does all that fritzing out as your volume goes down, all the kind of things you would expect from a really heavy fuzz. And that's kind of, you think of that as your root note. Then you've got a subharmonic, and what that does, if you have it set to unison, it will now play whatever interval you have set here. So and again, it's very unstable. It's extremely chaotic. It's very sensitive to your amplitude, your picking style, and everything else. Eventually, it sort of settles out, but then as the string dies, then it goes chaotic again. So one of the things that I'm bringing in here is the EarthQuaker Devices, the Warden, a compressor. It simply evens the signal out a little better. At a minimum, it'll be good for showing this. And you would want to put a compressor in front if you're trying to get more consistent sounds out of this, because by keeping the amplitude even, you'll keep the response a little more even. And now I'll bring the square wave in, show you how those two relate to each other. And then the last one up here, this is your main oscillator. And so I'm turning down the other two, and you can start at unison. I have this knob set to root, and what this knob does, basically there's a certain frequency range that this thing behaves best in. So if you keep your guitar in that range, you may not get the octave that you want to come out of this. And by the way, when this is on, there is none of your original guitar coming out, which I'll show you once I play some keys through it. So what this octave root, -1, -2 octaves in your root lets you do is play where it works best for the sound you're going for, and then you can use this to shift the whole tonality up or down an octave. And then you have from unison all the way up to +3 octaves that you can then add to that. And notice you can hear the glide going on this as well. I have it about 1/3 up on glide. And you can hear that it's amplitude sensitive. Listen, as I pick harder, you'll hear it go up. And now the different octaves and offsets of fifths and thirds and sevenths. And for those of you into synthesis, it kind of sounds like hard sync, where you're changing the oscillator, the slave oscillator, by different intervals, and you're hearing those harmonics. So kind of listen to the harmonics as I play this. And then if I throw the switch from glide to vibrato, now all of a sudden that has a pretty extreme vibrato going as well. And now I've just shifted it down 2 octaves, which means I can now play up high. Okay, so now I'm going to just turn all 3 on and start changing intervals and let you hear some of the possible combinations. You could spend all day coming up with combinations on this thing, and every one of them is weird in its own unique way. So now I have it plugged into my Yamaha CS. It's one of the Reface series. I find myself keeping this on my desk all the time because of how useful it is. And today I'm going to severely underuse it and just use a very plain sound. The reason is so I can show you a little more consistently what this is doing. This is the sound I'm going to use. But this is what comes out. And now I'm going to turn on my TC Electronic Flashback set to ping pong delay because I just use that whenever I synthesize. just a reminder, this is what I'm playing. So my camera person asked me what would it sound like with a mic. So we grabbed this drum mic really quick and just slammed it in. Let's see what happens. So that is the Data Corruptor by EarthQuaker Devices. My name is Daniel Fisher. If you have any further questions about these or other pedals, please contact your Sweetwater sales engineer. Thank you for listening.